Hello, welcome if you're new and welcome back if you are not. Now that the lounge is completely done, or as we said in the previous video, 90% done, it's finally time that we can move on to the kitchen and share with you our kitchen progress so far. So as I said a couple of videos back, while we were doing the lounge and while we were taking some time off of making videos and uploading to YouTube, there was a hell of a lot going on in the background, and one of those things was the installation of the kitchen. But before I can show you that, I've got to take you way back to all of the prep that we had to do to get the kitchen ready. Now, in previous videos, you've already seen us installing the back doors. If you wanted to watch that, this is the video up here. And also raising the floor, or rather leveling the floor. Our kitchen previously was just a concrete bottom. There was no insulation, there were no floorboards or anything like that. So the first thing that we wanted to do was level it. And we did that by just creating a sub base, or kind of like a cement floor. But the pre-work didn't stop there. Before we could even get the plaster in, we had to raise the floor. So we did level it, but now it was adding insulation and floorboards and all of that stuff so that it was of the same height as the lounge dining room, so you didn't have to take a step down. And installing a new window. The window that was previously there was just too old and too damaged, and it wasn't fixable really. So we had to fix the floor, fix the window, and then and only then we were ready to bring the plaster in. So I filmed a lot of that. We're taking you back months now, and this is how it all went.
Today's task is replacing the window in the kitchen. So the current window that's sat there is very old. The glass has gone on it, the hinges have gone. It's just, yeah, it's really old, needs replacing. What we've done in other windows is replace just the glass, but this one needs a new aluminium frame installed. And also, because we're raising the floor, it was going to look really weird. The sill height is going to be really small, or literally just flush with the sink. So I just don't think that would look right. What I'm going to do is brick up two layers of bricks, and then the new window is going to sit in there. So what I'm going to do is remove the window, so remove all the wood around it, take the glass out, and then basically take out the window, and then work out how to install the new one. So I removed the sill, I've removed the plastic thing from around the window, taken the glass out. Now I'm just going to use a screwdriver, unscrew all the parts of the window, and that should get the window out. So when measuring a new window, you usually measure from the outside and take off about 5mm just for a bit of extra wiggle room. That's what I did. However, when I removed the window in the kitchen, it was a bit deceiving because where I thought it was the end of the wall, it was actually a wooden frame that had been rendered, and basically the size was a lot bigger than I thought, meaning the window was a lot smaller than I measured. It's not an issue because I've packed it out and put expanding foam and I'm just bricking it up now. But I just want to show you guys, if you're thinking about changing your window at home, make sure you remove the wooden frame around it, because that was what our aluminium window was attached to. I'm not sure if that's normal, but just a heads up. So obviously we're raising the floor, so I've bricked up here. Then also as well, can you see, this is where the wooden timber used to go around. I was thinking about putting a wooden timber back in, but instead I'm just gonna put bricks on this side and just brick up about 6 bricks either side, and then that can be plastered over and cover any gaps. So today's plan is to raise the floor in the kitchen. I was mentioned in the previous video, we'll be having a floating floor, so that's where we're gonna have insulation and then chipboard just on top, and then it's just going to look more seamless coming in from the dining room all the way out to the garden.
For about the 100th time, we've cleared our kitchen. We've cleared our kitchen and raising the floor can begin. We never actually talked you through this when it happened, but definitely a low point of this whole kitchen reno, or I would just say reno in general, was when, I don't know how we did it, but we basically removed enough support from the sink that the entire thing collapsed. And we went from barely having a kitchen to also having no way to wash up our pots and pans. I mean, we could have taken them to the bathroom on the 3rd floor, but the odds of me ruining my new bathroom are slim to none. So Tom has built this very temporary solution. I mean, it works like a charm. A slight issue that there's nowhere to store dirty dishes, but they live there until we wash them. It's all very depressing, but not for long.
So one side there is a shelf, the other side is just balanced on a piece of wood. So Martin has got a genius idea to keep it propped up and ensure it doesn't just suddenly collapse again. So we've got it on a piece of rope. I don't know if anyone's ever seen a sink held up with rope. Take it away. We've now got a floating sink. So plan of action in the kitchen to do a floating floor. Firstly, we've screeded the floor. We've let it set now for about 2 months, so it's completely dry. Next, we're going to put down a damp-proof membrane, so just a massive damp-proof sheet that I got from Screwfix. We're then going to put the insulation on top, the PIR insulation, and then all you do is put the chipboard on top with some expanding glue. Never done it before. Watch the video. It didn't seem too hard. It just seems like putting down chipboard. It just seems weird that you don't have to screw in anywhere. It's all just held up by the insulation. But let's see how we get on. So we've just cut it to size to make sure it all fits. But first of all, before putting the insulation down, you need to put down a damp-proof membrane. So we've got a plastic sheet that we'll be putting down first, and then we'll be placing this on top. So we've now got the damp-proof course down and the insulation. Now it's literally just to put chipboard on top. We will be doing electric underfloor heating and flooring, but that's another job today. We're just going to put the chipboard down today, and once the kitchen's installed, add the rest. And there you have it, the finished floor. So the floor's now laid. It's really weird to think that the chipboard is just sitting on top of insulation, but it's really solid. and it looks great. Like, it's just a nice flush three-way from the dining room into the kitchen now, where before there was a massive step down and then the step out for the back doors. That's completely gone now. So yeah, it looks happy with the job, and it was great to learn something new.
So we have been putting off buying the kitchen for a while. I think we're just going back and forth with so many different designs and changes. And the video with the kitchen mood board that we released a few weeks back, you guys were super helpful and actually gave us a bunch of tips and ideas that we hadn't thought of. So we think we've come to an absolute final decision on the kitchen. We've got it up in the 3D viewer. We can make sense of the room. We think it looks fine, but what we wanted to do is just properly map it out in our existing kitchen to look at it, you know, in real life. So what we're doing is we're mapping out exactly where all the units would go, what it would look like up on the wall with masking tape, and then hopefully that's going to give us the confidence to finally buy this kitchen, because we need to get to it. Oh, do you want me to mark those as well?
Yeah, why not?
And so this is the kitchen. We've got integrated fridge freezer, 500ml drawer unit, a cupboard that will open that way. We'll have our extractor fan, double cupboards. Down here, our oven. Then a narrow pull-out for pots and pans and spices and oils. And then another 600 pull-out. And on this side, we're not gonna do it, but again, floor to ceiling pantry, 500ml drawers, sink unit, dishwasher. And then there and there will be shelving. So yeah, just nice to see it all mapped out, be able to visualize what it's going to look like in person. And I think we've made some pretty good decisions, and you guys have helped us change to some pretty good decisions, which is super exciting. A few of you asked a few questions about the kitchen, the layout, what we changed as a result of your feedback. So I kind of just wanted to run through the main things that we decided to do. Firstly was freeing as much space up in the kitchen as possible. You might remember this from back when the kitchen was red, but we actually did have our washing machine and the boiler in the kitchen. The bathroom right above the kitchen, which would be this house's family bathroom, is the same size as the kitchen. It's a massive bathroom, unnecessarily big bathroom. So what we decided to do was actually move the boiler and the washing machine upstairs and build a cupboard around that. So we've always got like a boiler, laundry cupboard within the bathroom. Again, Tolik's done a really good job at building a door there, so it'll all be hidden away. You won't see it. We're going to build a shelf above the washing machine to keep, you know, all of the washing machine, spare toilet paper, maybe towels for guests, all of that sort of stuff. So that was one of the biggest things we did in freeing up space downstairs. It meant that one unit didn't need to be used for a integrated washing machine, and it also meant that the boiler didn't take upper cabinet space. Another thing was bins. Having bins in the kitchen meant losing out on potential storage space, and we were so set on having a coat cupboard, but we've also now built a cupboard under the stairs. So what we're going to be doing is putting hooks in the cupboard under the stairs on like the straight wall, so there is room for coats, and then we're turning that, what would be the coat cupboard or the big cupboard, into another sort of pantry or almost like a utilities closet. So we're going to have our bins in there, we're going to have our mops, we will store our kind of handheld hoover for the kitchen. We will keep, you know, spiralizers, slow cookers, as I already said, just all of the stuff that you don't reach for every day. So that's kind of going to be an all-in-one cupboard. Some of the things that we did at your suggestions in the comments in my kitchen planning video, and thank you again for those were super useful. One of the things that we did was change the layout so that the majority of the kitchen is pull-out drawers. So every single cupboard within our kitchen, apart from the upper cabinets and the cabinets underneath the sink, they're all pull-outs. And the reason that they're pull-outs is because I know it all too well. You get this like 600mm depth, but the cupboard's only as good as what's at the front of it, because you forget what's at the back and it all turns to mess and you can't see everything that you own. So yeah, we just basically went for all drawers, because now whether it's in the pantry looking for tinned goods, whether it's looking for the right Tupperware, whether it's finding the right spice, if everything's pull out, you can see everything you own every time you open up that cupboard. So that's brilliant. Another thing that we did was originally we were going to have the hob and the oven right in the middle of the two worktops either side. And one of you recommended that we actually didn't do that. We didn't make the space equal either side. If we moved up the hob and oven a little bit, you'd have a smaller worktop, but on the other side, you'd have a bigger worktop, which would be more conducive for like prepping, chopping, all of that sort of stuff. And that was absolutely correct and not something that we thought about. So we did actually move the oven and hob a little bit closer to the fridge. So now on the other side, we've got, I believe, 900 to a meter workspace, which is going to make it so much easier, and that's going to be where we prep and we chop and we get everything ready. Another thing we did at one of your recommendations was we actually did add upper units back in. I took them all out because I didn't want the kitchen to feel too crowded, and one of you mentioned that upper units are super important because you're always going to have more to store than you think. We did add them back in only on one side, I don't know my left and right, sorry, on the left hand side of the kitchen, and I'm so happy that we did. It just means I don't know where our glasses and cups and mugs and stuff would have gone if I didn't put those back in. And obviously the less open shelving you've got, the less you've got to dust and look after and clean constantly. We are still going to have open shelving on the right hand side because I've got cookbooks and vases and nice things that I want to add to the kitchen, because even though it's super beautiful, it is still quite a grey, you know, basic kitchen, and I want to add a little bit more character. So I think the shelves are very much needed. And then the final thing that we added to the kitchen was the recommendation to get the same quartz that we are using on our worktops and getting that cut for our windowsill. So we are now getting that. We've added that onto the order, and it's going to look really nice, and it's going to match, and it's going to kind of bring the whole room together. So those are the major changes that we did to the kitchen as a result of us having more time to think about it, us asking you, and you giving really, really good ideas. So thank you again for that. I will keep you in the loop as we start to use the kitchen. It becomes a more usable space. What went well, what didn't go well, what I would change in the future. So I'll definitely keep you in the loop there. And now we wait. Please excuse the absolute mess that's going on in the background. I'm actually packing to go on holiday, but a lot of stuff has already been done. So we needed the kitchen to be plastered, then painting the kitchen, getting that ready just in time for the kitchen delivery. And when our carpenter came back in and started installing the kitchen, it's all been a very mad rush, but a lot has happened. So if you'd like to see it all happen and watch the kitchen come to life, please hit the subscribe button. We upload videos every single Wednesday, and I will see you next Wednesday. Thank you as always for watching. I need to pack and enjoy some sun. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.